Okay. I believe it's live. Let's
Sure.
record also.
Indubitably.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Weeb Corner. Episode 8, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And I have my friend here, our boss Sakaki, joining me. He will be off view because of security reasons.
That's right.
So you'll just be staring at my face.
Of course.
Sorry about that.
Apologize, bro.
Over here, we just talk about anime, video games, manga, anything in the Weeb universe. Because we are into that stuff.
Of course.
I think my mic might be a little too loud. I'm seeing the bar go up.
Got you.
Yeah. We're going to start off with Bleach, the latest episode of Bleach, episode number 8.
Yes.
So this is like a cool down episode, right?
It definitely was.
After all the crazy massacring and whatnot, it was the cool down.
Yeah. I mean, so we saw that, like, it kind of cooled down because, like, at the beginning we saw, like, the aftermath, essentially, right? Because they were getting healed up in the 4th Division quarters, which is known for healing the division or whatever. So, and, Isane was talking about, like, why couldn't we go out there and so on. But that was the final orders of, Captain Yamamoto.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, you gotta follow the orders or whatever. So, and if they did, then who's gonna heal them ananyway? Because, everybody got massacred, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, just open up on that and just try to, resolve some of those. But we did see Cone.
Oh, yes, he finally made his appearance.
That's right. And granted, it was a little bit different than the manga, because the manga had some hilarious moments with Cone, but yeah, if you know what I'm talking about, Buff Cone. Yeah.
And I do have a little plushie of him back there.
Oh, snap. Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that, but that's awesome. But yeah, he has his cameo in this episode or whatever, so I'm like, okay, sure, why not, right?
Yeah.
But then we kind of go into the point where Ichigo was talking about, like, well, he had his quote-unquote reunion with Rukia, because up until this point we haven't seen them interact, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's the first one he interacted with for the beginning of the series, right?
Yeah.
But, so, she's obviously just recovering, they got out of surgery, and, they're just chatting it up kind of thing, just going over some stuff. But she notices that, he seems to have some type of worries. She can just sense that to some extent, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
But, obviously he's getting called around to go all over the place, just to see what's going on. But I guess he went to Kuretsuchi Mayuri's lab. Because, at the end of the last episode, we saw that his sword got broken.
Yeah, it's all shattered.
Yeah. So it's just like, well, it's in a Bankai state. It's one thing if it was destroyed in a Shikai mode, right, like the first release. But in Bankai, it's a little bit different, apparently. And we get the explanation that if it's broken in a Bankai, then you can never recover.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone forever.
Yeah, and we kind of get an expose in terms of Kuretsuchi, because, he typically, changes his Zanbato, but he mentions that he modifies it, not actually fixes it, right? But,
yeah.
So there was like a, kind of term difference there, but so it's like, oh, then how is Ichigo going to fight the rest of the series if his Bankai is broken, right?
Yeah.
I highly doubt he would rely on his Quincy powers, but...
No, he needs a weapon.
Exactly, because, I mean, that really only just awakened during the fight, but even then, like, he doesn't even know how to control it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so after that, Kuretsuchi was like, you should meet these people, and we finally get a glimpse of the Zero Division.
Yes, they finally made their appearance.
Yes, as
so
goofy as they were.
Before that, I feel like we should have some music in the background, which I forgot to turn on.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have a little chill mood going.
Of course, indeed.
So let me do that real quick.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We're still getting used to this whole live stream thing, so
of course.
There's going to be technical difficulties and weirdness going on.
Yeah, it is what it is, when you first starting out kind of thing, right? So.
Yeah. We're not professionals here.
That's right.
We're still learning. We'll get better.
The newbies at streaming.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, let's see, we got some chill tracks or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, let's,
Yes, sir.
put that on.
Yeah, well, I mean, while you were doing that, I'm just gonna, but, so, as they were going, they meet the Goofy Squad Zero. And
each one is like
they have
a
their
character.
Personality, yeah, it's a little interesting, right? But I mean, these are the cream of the crop, essentially, right? And we saw Soifon talking about how, like, where were they when they were just getting owned? And what's his name makes a point, right? I forgot what his name, Tenjiro, I think it is, or something like that. But the guy with the the pompadour hair, right? Yeah. So he's like, he kind of makes his point to Unohana that healing is not something that she should be doing specifically. And I think you probably should already know what she should be doing because, when we saw in the last episode, or two episodes ago, essentially where Unohana was shown that she was part of the original Gote 13, and she was savage.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So, I mean, like, don't you wonder, it makes you wonder, like, how did she go from that to, like, some calm, healing person? You know what I mean? It's like, that's a little interesting, but, so I'm just like, okay, we'll see where that goes, but, so Soifon kind of speaks out and was like, what happened, why weren't you there to help us out or whatever, and, he makes a point, that he was like, why should we help you? Your job is to protect the Soul Society, and you failed at it.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, it's a reality right in their face, bro. Oh, man, I tell you what.
I mean, she's trying to blame other people for their shortfallings.
Yeah. I mean, you see, like, because it's quite the contrast from, like, the current, Gote 13 and what we saw in the flashback kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Gote 13 was complete savages for each one of them, and they were killing off the Quincy's, obviously, right? This one, they just completely got annihilated. So it's just like the stark difference between the two generations of captains or whatever. It's like, yeah, you guys got weak. So it's just like, oh, okay, But so what's her name? I forgot what her name is. She takes Renji, Rukia, Byakuya, who we found out was alive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this man got just murked.
I mean, the problem is, like, and this was a controversy in the manga when that happened, because I feel like Kubo probably should have killed him off just to make quite a big effect, but people backlashed because they were like, that's my favorite, like, character or whatever, and I'm like, come on, man, somebody's gotta die. You know what I mean? Like, but I mean, we did leave with the greatest death, which was Yamamoto. So I'm like, okay, somewhat of a compromise, but
he was getting up there in age. Yeah, it was just like, eventually, we're gonna watch this man die.
Of course, yeah. I mean, when you're going against something like that, it's like, but. I mean, that's essentially what happened, and so you'll learn a little more about each of the Squad Zero members.
That's good.
One of them was like Hikifune, I think. She was slapping Shinji on the back of the head or something like that. Because, if you remember from the first series, because she talked about like, oh, how is Hiyori doing, right? Because she was a vice captain when the turn back of the pendulum part of it. But if you remember from that first series, she was saying that like. Hiyori was saying, oh, my captain has left us because she got, promoted to the Zero Division. And then that's when Urahara Kisuke took over the 12th Division, right? But, so, she had, like, some issues with that, and, it's like, okay, so I guess she looked at maybe a lot different from what she had originally 110, 112 years ago or something like that, so I was like, okay. But, yeah, so she's, like, one of the, Zero Divisions, right? But... so she's talking about them, and then like I don't think we really get too much of Oetsu, and he's the guy with like kind of like another pompadour with the sunglasses.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna give any spoilers about like what he does or whatever, but it's just like he plays a very important role.
So I'm hoping there'll be like at least one episode dedicated to like each of them.
Yeah, for the training obviously that's going on. So.
So I see that.
Yeah, so I mean, so they get taken up to the Royal Palace.
Yes,
right?
we finally get to see it, right?
Yeah, and Ichigo has a monologue about it in the sense of like this is where Aizen wanted to come, and Obviously, Aizen is a great threat, and one of the Zero Division members was talking about, he is a personification of evil. So, because he was trying to recreate their bones, because their bones is like what would equate to the Golden Key or the Oken, to try to get up there in the first place.
Yeah.
And if you remember from the first series, at the end of the fight between Ichigo and Aizen, Aizen is talking to Urahara because, Urahara makes a finishing move to seal him up, kind of thing. But Aizen was like, "Why do you subjugate yourself to that thing?" Yeah. Right?
This is all like a fading memory for me.
Yeah.
Since I first watched it. It was like years ago.
Yeah.
When did it first premiere?
Dude, I don't even know. All I know is that it ended in 2012.
Yeah, and
that was 10 years ago, bro. So
my memory cannot go that far right now.
Yeah, but I think you only watched up to like a certain part, right? Like past the Soul Society, I think. Right? Yeah. I don't think you got to the Arangar arc or something. I
got up to the part where like the bad guys looked like they were from the circus.
I don't know what that is. Is it the filler episodes or something?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, okay.
They all look so odd, like they just escaped the circus.
Yeah. It's definitely the filler arc. So
okay.
You didn't get to the main arc because I think it was episode 62 or 63, and then there's filler episodes, and then 110 is when it picks back up to the canon story. So if you didn't get to that part, then it's like because that's when Shinji shows up in the first series. So, but in any case, so. This is where Aizen wanted to be, kind of thing, and talking about why would you subjugate yourself to this quote unquote Soul King? And it was interesting that Aizen even knew about that to begin with, because I don't think anybody else knew about that specifically, or maybe it's shared information between them, but I'm not really sure. But in any case, so Ichigo was like seeing that there, Kirinji, I think his name is, the guy with the pompadour. He was trying to transport Ichigo to somewhere else by making him hop to plane or something.
Put him on that pad.
Yeah,
and he brought out the mallet.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay. But Hikifune kind of just gives him the lowdown on what each thing is or whatever. Because each 5e disc is our domain, right?
So, we saw all
exactly. So we're getting to the first point where he's getting healed up, and that was the point that he made. That Kirinji was talking to Unohana, was like, "Yeah, your healing is not enough to be able to heal these folks up or whatever." So
man took him to the hot spring.
Oh yeah, and you saw the blood was draining from Byakuya and whatever, and it was. I saw one video preview or something, thumbnail where it's like, "We got robbed from what was shown in the manga." I'm like, okay, sure. Rukia's butt doesn't show from underneath the water, okay? Whatever.
Was that an angle in the manga?
Yeah. I was like, okay, whatever, bro.
Some people thirsty, yo.
Yeah. And I'm like, So, but anyway, aside from that ridiculous point, so, we saw Kirinji throw Byakuya between the bath, essentially, from the white hot bath to the red blood bath, and so he's trying to drain the blood out and recirculate it with better blood to
giving him this dialysis, yo.
Yeah, I don't freaking know, man. It's just his method apparently, and he's trying to heal him, but it's kind of like a comedic effect for this episode. We need it because it was just way too dark and bodies everywhere.
After the couple of episodes before that. Oof.
Yeah. Because, it was just nonstop, killing and just annihilation. And it's like, we need kind of like a break to that.
A balance.
Yeah. So, but we ended when we talked about the hot spring, and although, and if you probably missed it, I don't know if you did, but at the end credit scene.
Yes, after the credits. I actually stuck around.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, it might be another poem.
Right.
Or a haiku or something.
Exactly.
But then we got a little glimpse of the Soul King.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yeah, just a little glimpse.
Yeah, obviously he's encased in some kind of crystal-looking thing or whatever, but...
His eyes look weird.
Yeah, he definitely looks weird. But yeah, this is, the Soul King doesn't really say anything as far as I know. So it's just I don't even know if he's really alive. But, well, then again, he could be. He probably is because, the Zero Division captain, why are their names like fading from my whatchamacallit?
It's too many names to remember.
Yeah, the leader, the guy with the bald head. Okay, so he was like, oh, you've awakened, Soul King. So, and I think that kind of plays a role in the sense of, well, I'm not gonna get into the details because if you read the light novels, you kind of know what the bald guy's intent was with Hideo. But yeah, I mean that was pretty much an episode for Bleach this week. So hopefully,
it was good.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next week. How the training goes or whatever. He's obviously training hard, right? Because I mean, now that Ewok has gone back to the Wanderreich, it's just like, I don't know how long it's going to take for him to recover to be able to go back and just annihilate his whole society again. Right?
Yeah. I feel like we might get an episode showing his side, like what's happening over there.
Yeah.
His plans.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was a good episode. So next, Chainsaw Man.
Yes.
The latest episode.
Of course.
So it started off showing Denji being just hung over and just out of it, and him being just carried back to what's her face's apartment.
Himeno.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Was Denji drunk? No, he was just out of it, I guess. Well, maybe he might have been drunk. I don't think he was.
So here's my theory.
Yeah.
So when Himeno threw up in his mouth,
gosh,
he got that alcohol in him. Yeah, got that contact drunkenness.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. So I mean, I guess he was kind of out of his head, kind of in a sense. But,
he was out of it.
Yeah.
I also noticed the animation for that whole sequence.
Yeah. It
was rotoscoped. So
that's true, actually.
I'm a big fan of rotoscoped animation just because it looks the flow of everything, it looks like the frame rate's a little faster and smoother.
Right.
And just the movement looks more realistic.
True.
So I've always been a fan of rotoscope animation and stuff. So they did that. It was kind of cool.
A lot of it was like that, other than we'll get to that part of CG, but so I was like, okay, I really like it, to be honest, because it's amazing to see the animation in this series, obviously. So
yeah, even for small scenes like that.
Yeah.
They're bringing their A game, so
yeah.
It's pretty good.
But yeah, so I mean, we go back to Himeno is pretty much out of it, and she was offering to fornicate with Denji, but she obviously doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, but this man, he had a chance to get with her.
That's true.
But he gave it all up because he's got this super major crush.
Exactly.
On Mikami, and it's just this crush won't go away.
Yeah. I mean, because I think the lollipop comes out, and that's when he remembers. Sorry,
I'm saving myself.
I'm saving myself for Makima, so I'm like, okay, yeah, but I'm like, good for you. And then even then, when they're sober, she was like, oh, I didn't really do anything to you, did you? He's like, you don't mind, or I can go to jail for that. I'm like, yeah, you could.
Acting all crazy.
Yeah, she was a little too drunk there, but yeah, so it's just like, okay, so we get that whole, scene out of the way, and then, we get to the point where it's just I think they're all going different places. We get different point of views.
Yes.
Makima was on the train.
Yeah, they're all split up on teams.
Yeah.
They're investigating different things.
Exactly.
And the assassins come out.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Teams are getting assassinated just out of nowhere, just like that.
That's
so
true.
I read the manga, so I saw it coming, but it was just seeing it animated. It was just more forceful.
Exactly. Because it came out of nowhere.
With the sound effects and stuff. It was just shocking.
Right.
But I knew it was going to happen.
True.
And then we finally get the guy at the noodle shop talking to Denji. Yes.
I guess the guy, he was the son of, or nephew? I can't remember which one it was, but
for
the guy that
Yakuza.
That Denji was actually working under originally. So we get to see that, and he has a kind of a sword for hands and face kind of thing.
Yes.
So
Was he the Blade Devil or?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that is the case because it's been a while since considering where I'm at in the manga up to date.
Yeah, I'm still trying to remember the names because now and then they don't mention it in the anime.
Yeah.
They might later on, but I'm still trying to remember.
True. Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, so. He poses to be quite the threat for them or whatever. Although, Aki essentially, takes action.
Yes.
Right? And he does this move. Apparently, I guess it's like a nail or something.
Yeah.
It was, but
and he was counting down.
Yeah. So that cursed devil can, essentially take him on and just, take him out. And he was successful.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for them, another partner of that Blade Devil comes out.
Yes.
And somehow revives the guy. So it's just like, okay, it's interesting. But then that's where they have the trouble. And, Himeno notices this. And it's just like, okay, Aki, don't die. And she essentially gives up everything of herself.
Finally, sacrifices herself.
Yeah, to her devil. And it's just like, okay, just as long as Aki can live.
Yeah. And it was a pretty touching scene because she's like, you see her disappearing piece by piece.
Exactly. Which is pretty sad, but Aki's reaction is like, you kind of like what is it, like 40 seconds of him when he's like, oh my gosh, what has happened? Kind of thing. He's like breathing kind of thing. And, we see because her devil, the ghost or whatever, gets eaten up by
the snake devil. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, but it's rather unfortunate, and Himeno just obviously is gone.
Yeah.
And so is her devil, apparently. So I'm like, that was just a lose situation in that perspective. But now it's just like, Aki has to fight for his life in that sense, and it's like, man, it's just terrible.
Yeah, the way the episode ended, it was just like, people got assassinated.
Yeah.
Denji got shot in the head.
Yeah.
And Aki's just left standing there.
Well, he gets stabbed through, right?
Yeah, but he's kind of he's close to dying.
Yeah. That's true. So
power is missing.
Yeah, some for whatever reason because she left Himeno's side when she was disappearing. But I mean, I guess power, I guess she is able to detect how much of a threat some people are, but
she got scared.
Yeah. So maybe she ran away. I don't know, but I mean, it's been it's been a while since I read the manga for that section. But either way, we'll see what happens, and maybe Power might make a move and just try to do something. But obviously, we'll try to see what happens with Denji. There's no way the main character is gonna die off that, right? So
yeah. The whole time I was watching this with another friend of mine.
Yeah.
He'll be joining us later.
Indeed.
But he saw the whole sequence go down.
Yeah.
And we both were just like, it's too early for these main characters to die.
That's right.
We're halfway through the season.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's kind of like how Bleach was Ichigo got his throat stabbed in the middle of the thing, and now Denji got shot in the head. It's how does the main characters die in their own series?
Too early.
Too early. It can't go on like that. But yeah, so it's been a pretty interesting episode this week. Cool down for Bleach, and Chainsaw Man is hyping up in the sense of where it's going for now. But obviously, we're in the last half of the first core of the series, the Bleach, season.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see where that goes. I don't know what they're going to do in terms of, I don't know if they have 12 or 13 episodes for this season, but hopefully it's 13, but I don't know where that's going to go because, they've been essentially, I think by now they've adapted 4 or 5 volumes of Bleach.
Oh.
They're going pretty fast, but even then, there was quite a number, I think it was 30, 40 volumes? I can't remember, but it was quite a bit. Or it was probably 37 volumes, I think.
Okay.
That, was remaining kind of thing. So, we already got 4 or 5 out of the way. So they're moving pretty fast. And, you got to keep an eye out for, what's going on in Bleach. Because, we got, a whole lot of stuff that was going on in that episode to begin with. Despite the fact that it was kind of goofy and, slow down kind of right? So,
we got a lot of exposition.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's pretty good so far. Yeah. Anything else you've been, aside from the Bleach and Chainsaw Man, that you took an interest in watching at some point? Or?
Not really. I haven't really had time to watch anything. You know what? I loaded up Spy Family to watch it, and I just didn't hit play on it. It was right there.
Oh gosh.
Maybe not today.
Yeah.
That.
It is what it is. But although I will say that I watched the Laid Back Camp movie, which was nice.
Oh, it finally came out.
Yeah, it came out for Thanksgiving, so I was watching on Crunchyroll.
Oh, okay.
Go check it out whenever you want to. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how canon it is, but I mean, it's just like check it out. It's just like kind of like an offshoot, and it's when they're adults, right?
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah. So I kind of appreciate it. It was very comfy, and yet again, you still learn quite a few new things, especially from a camping perspective. So, I'm like,
we'll probably get to watch this on Friday, and yeah, we can talk about the movie on Friday.
Indeed,
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Or the weekend.
Yeah, whatever. But aside from that, I need to catch up on Mob Psycho's episode for this week.
There's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Like the holidays and just construction and
of course
just
me
side stuff. It's been hard to keep up with anime.
Yeah.
But we've been keeping up with that Pokemon though.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so speaking of that, all right. Now we do know, and like I said, I'm going to shout out to his channel, Austin John Plays. Go check his channel out. But we do know that there's an event starting tomorrow. At 4 p.m. Eastern, which thankfully I only need 5 hours of work tomorrow, so thank goodness. But I highly recommend, and this is for people that have been hardcore playing, you need to be a level 100 for this, because there's no way you're going to be able to do it. Yeah, so for one thing...
A long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, you already have to have 5 and 6 star terror raids unlocked, and that's post-game.
Oh, okay.
And for those that don't know, in order to even do that, or even in the post game, you need to do, I think, 10 4-star raids in offline mode, or I think it's like 4 or 5 in online mode for 4-star or above, and that will unlock these 6-star raids. Now, 5-star raids, I think they're at like level 50 or 65 or something, because apparently 6-star raids, the Pokemon that you catch there, are level 75. So the Charizard event is a 7-star raid, meaning it's level 100. However, the caveat is, because Charizard is not in the Pokedex in the game, at least not yet, I would imagine, that you probably won't be able to catch it. You're probably only going to defeat it, and it'll probably be registered in the back end of the game, and that kind of thing. So it's really just like okay.
That feels really unfair.
Yeah. I mean, they did that in Sword and Shield because there was like a couple Pokemon that you couldn't catch. Like they did Mewtwo as a Gigantamax raid, and you couldn't catch it because it was level 100, and even then. It was really hard to do that Mewtwo. I'm speaking from experience, but you get like a huge number of item drops, and that'll be critical for this Terror raid, because then there are certain items that you can get from that. I don't know if bottle caps are in this game, but I would imagine it would be. But specifically Herba Mysticas, and you've already gotten to that point where each of the Titans they give the Herba Mystica, right? But those are important for post-game in the sense of various things in the sense like, for example, if you want to increase egg power so you can breed, or more specifically, shiny hunting. It significantly increases your odds in running the shinies. Now, I say that, which yesterday, unfortunately, I didn't save in front of a shiny that I ran into, and it used Explosion, and it killed itself, and I'm like, oh, damn it, man. I was so mad. It was a Garganackle, which is the final evolution of Knackley. But it was shiny, and I was like, it's pretty obvious. It was like a goldish color. So I'm like, oh, okay. But then I wasn't expecting. First of all, I wasn't even expecting shiny hunting in the first place. All right, let me give that explanation. But so I was just going up the hill from the Area 0. And minding my own business, and then all of a sudden this thing runs into me. Now, the weird thing is, every shiny that I've gotten so far, which it's 2, which unfortunately the third one is not there anymore because I'm trying to load it up. But,
they've all run into
you. They
run
into me. Like, I'm not even shiny hunting. They're just running into me. And I'm like, what the hell's happening?
It's the opposite for me. I'm always like looking out for them, and I eventually will see one that is like a just the contrast color is like off. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, that has to be a shiny. I haven't seen that color before.
Exactly.
And so far I have 2 shinies. I can barely remember their names. One is the horse donkey looking one.
Oh, Mudbray,
And the other one is the water weasel looking one.
Oh, the water
weasel or
Weasel, yeah,
that's the other one.
Ah, okay.
I was like, that's not the right color.
Yeah, it's
Let me catch
really
this.
gold, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind getting a shiny Wiglet like how my Oshi Fubuki did. Apparently shiny Wiglet is gold. I'm like, okay, that's interesting, but it's just I don't know, like how, because some of these, like, for one example, what I saw, and go check Cerebi.net because they're the greatest database for anything Pokemon related, especially for the main series games. So they have the most up-to-date Pokedex, and they have like what the shinies actually look like. And one example of something that you probably wouldn't be able to tell unless you saw that website is Tinkatuff. And there's Tinkatink and something like that or whatever.
Yeah.
It's Final Evolution. I don't know if the Final Evolution is called Tinkatuff. But in any case, Tinkatuff itself, the Pokemon, it doesn't change any color, but its hammer does. I'm like,
okay.
Oh, okay, that's kind of weird. I was like, all right, I guess you can kind of tell. But it's just weird that they wouldn't change the Pokemon, but the item that it's holding, that's a new thing to me. That okay,
that is kind of odd.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm going to start shiny hunting for the Paradox Pokemon.
Okay.
Because apparently I didn't know that until Austin John plays, put a video on that you can shiny hunt those. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm probably going to take a crack at it and see what I can do, but only after I start doing these 6-star and 7-star raids for those Herba Mysticas, so I can increase my shiny odds. But my Pokedex is coming along pretty good, I guess. I think I have like over 240 or something like that, or 300, something like that.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I
think I'm at like 150.
Yeah.
I have a lot more way to go. Yeah. But then again, I think I'm only like halfway through the game, so I'm taking my time.
And I don't know if having the Pokedex filled out actually plays a role in this whole shiny thing, because I feel like it might be, but you never know. But I think it probably, especially with the mass outbreaks of the hordes of Pokemon that show up, because I actually tried to get like another, because one of the shiny Pokemon I mentioned was Vroom, that engine Pokemon, and that's the one that first ran into me. So, but I saw a mass outbreak, and I was like, might as well just try to see if I can get another shiny, right? But I took them all out, and I didn't get any shinies from that. But I think, when you look at the map, the little mini map, and you expand that, if you see the Pokemon glowing in a section or whatever on the map, then your shiny chances, I believe, are increased.
Oh, okay.
There's potential for it, but don't quote me on that. Like I said again, go check out Austin John Plays. He has some really good details in that sense, and check out Cerebi.net for those details. But yeah, and prep yourself for the Charizard raids and all the item drops from that. I'm gonna take full advantage of that, although I'm probably gonna have to try to raid tonight and do those get those minimum 10 raids out of the way, and then unlock those, and then get prepped for tomorrow.
Okay.
And my team is like around 75 to 80, so I think I'm gonna be able to power up to the point where I can make some type of effect. So
so you're just gonna be grinding tonight and tomorrow.
Pretty much, yeah. So, but yeah, so that's everything from Pokemon, although I will say that I'm sure there's something else on the horizon that's going to come up for Pokemon at some point. The one thing I can say is, like, I know for a fact that how well received Legends Arceus was.
Yeah.
Compared to, this Scarlet and Violet. Yeah. But I have the feeling that because of how well received Arceus was, that they're probably going to continue that series specifically. And I don't know where we go from that, because Arceus is the quote-unquote god of the Pokemon universe. So I'm not sure what they would actually do in terms of Legends. They could do, like, Mew, Mewtwo, Celebi, any of those mythical Pokemon. But,
and now that, like, they've been messing around with different dimensions. Time.
Oh yeah.
And just a Pokemon game that's set in the past.
Yeah, right.
And the present.
True.
Who knows? We might get a game that takes place in the future.
Maybe. I mean, if these Pokemon somehow turn mechanical for whatever reason, and or they're like ancient form or something, it's like, I want to see, like, when I start doing the Scarlet run, since I've pretty much completed Violet, I want to see, like, the Jigglypuff, when they have, like, weird names, right? So it's like, for example, Hariyama, the evolution of Makihita, right? Mm-hmm. Its future form is called Iron Hands. Mm. And I'm like, oh, okay, but they're actually separate dex entries. So I'm like, oh, okay, they're just not some form or whatever. I mean, they're technically a future form, I guess, but everything is like, Iron Hands or Iron Junculus or like Iron something. I'm like, oh, okay, sure, why not? Hopefully I can get an Iron Thorns because that's the coolest one, the future Tyranitar. So I'm like, that would be really nice to have on my team, but they're very rare. You gotta try to spawn them. So I'm gonna try for it, but we'll see what happens now.
I wish you luck.
Yeah. Hopefully I get a good IV, and then I do need to get like a foreign Ditto because that's a Masuda method for breeding in terms of shiny. So. But yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to be breeding some Pokemon and, sending them out to the the surprise trades for Christmas. So, maybe I have some, granted they're not going to be great IVs, but, I'll probably send those suckers out and see what happens. See if I get anything good. Hopefully I get a foreign Ditto.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
What are the games you've been playing, though?
So I've also been playing God of War.
Right.
I haven't beaten it yet. It's taking me forever because I'm just doing side quest stuff.
Gotcha.
I should get back on the main thing and just finish it off.
Yeah.
Because I do have a couple more games coming out this month.
Okay.
On Friday I got the Callisto Protocol.
Okay.
It's a survival horror game.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've heard of Dead Space.
Of course I have.
Yes, so it's from the makers of them. And it looks very Dead Spacey.
Oh,
the controls, the animation, everything just looks like Dead Space.
Except I gotcha.
It takes place on a prison, outer space prison.
Oh, gosh.
On the moon of Callisto.
I gotcha.
I actually won't be playing this because I hate playing horror games, but I do like watching other people play, and there will be a lot of streamers playing this. So,
of course.
I'll definitely be watching them.
True.
And then I think next week or in 2 weeks is the Final Fantasy Crisis Core.
Oh, okay.
So this game originally came out for the PSP.
Oh,
I don't know if you remember the PSP.
Yeah, that takes us back, man.
So so it's actually getting a remake for modern consoles and PC.
Okay.
And I actually be buying and playing that. I might stream a little bit of that.
Okay.
And after that, I might actually get back on The Witcher 3.
Okay.
It's getting a next-gen upgrade, and I'm trying to check that out. Those are the 3 I'll be playing. I don't think there's any other games that are coming out this month.
For the holiday season or anything like that?
Yeah, for December.
Yeah, I think pretty much everything's closed out by now. Pokemon is pretty much taken away for now, but outside of that, it's just like, I think we're just closing the end of the year and the end. There
is a game that I'm really looking forward to that's coming out for the Switch. It might be one of the few last Switch games I might get.
Okay.
Is Fire Emblem. What's it called? Dual Fates?
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
All I know is the characters look like VTubers.
True.
Their hair is like blue and red.
Right.
It reminds me of what's her face? The mouse with the mouse ears.
Hako's Veils.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually because the person that drew Hako's Veils is the creator of that. So
there it is.
It makes sense.
That's why it looks so similar.
Yeah.
Come on, bro, change your designs up.
Oh man, it's interesting to see like when the people that drew the VTuber models where their influences is. A lot of them are in the gaming and manga industry, so it's pretty cool, you know. I'm like, all right, you know. So you kind of like have a link to that to some extent, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice.
I think that's the only one I'm like really hyped for.
Yeah, yeah.
That and Zelda.
Oh yeah.
The next one that's coming out.
I don't know. When is that supposed to come out? Like
next
first
year?
quarter, right?
I remember.
I can't remember when, but I know it's supposed to be early next year.
So I feel like these two games might be the last great AAA games that the Switch has.
Yeah, before they had to have like another console or something.
Yes,
because it's like
hopefully,
way outdated, man.
I don't think we'll ever get that Metroid game they kept on teasing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because they had to change the console this time. It's like, now they got to upgrade the scaling and all that kind of stuff for that.
I don't think we'll get another Mario Kart or Mario Party for the Switch.
I think that's about it because, like, you know, the DLC is there. So, which I don't know when the next set of tracks is supposed to come out. Probably this upcoming month or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's soon.
Yeah.
I don't think we might get another Pokemon game. I mean, they're not really pushing the system to its graphical fidelity.
But I don't know about that, though.
Do you think they'll do a remake like they did with
now, that seems more likely, because, like, given the fact that Game Freak is probably... I would imagine Game Freak is already working and has been working on the next set of games. Or, you know, they're in a development stage, because, you know, that's... Games like that take like 2-3 years to develop, right? So,
yeah, but it feels now like they're trying to pump out a new Pokemon game every year, right?
Yeah, I mean, they used to do that. Well, it was like every 2 years was a schedule for them specifically back in the day. But now, because I think, you know, as they update the models and the polygons and stuff like that for the Pokemon, you know, this was obviously a new generation. So, like, they're just going to take all that and obviously, and, you know, if people paid attention to, like, the leaks or whatever for anything, if that's anything, but... There's obviously going to be DLC for Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah.
It's too obvious, but because there are Pokemon in there that, you know, you can't catch now. They're just in the code.
Yeah.
New Pokemon specifically.
So my theory is they'll probably have like a mainline game that Game Freak's going to make.
Yeah.
And they're going to outsource a remake to
Ilka. Because they're the one that did the Diamond and Pearl remake. So.
Yeah. So they might do that.
Yeah. Although I hope like Ilka doesn't do like the chibi thing. They did for the Gen 4.
You didn't like that?
No, not really.
I kind of like that over-the-top view that they took.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so, you know, they remade Gen 4, right? But, you know, Gen 5 is kind of like, how would I say this? It made a huge impact in the Pokemon community because it was essentially a reset in the games, right? Mm-hmm. Where, you know, we had a total of 156 new Pokemon. So, I mean, the only time that we ever get that many Pokemon was from the first generation where we had 151, right? You know, Gen 5 was a complete reset, and it was like, you know, starting off from fresh, right? And the story was phenomenal in Gen 5. And, you know, I don't know if I would appreciate it in chibi form.
Which one was Gen 5?
Gen 5 was a Unova region that was based in the U.S., which was like Tepig, Oshawott, and I'm forgetting, Snivy.
Which versions were those?
Black and White and Black and White 2.
Okay, so I played those.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
So that was the whole, you know, what was it? Team Plasma.
Yeah.
And Getsus or whatever the case may be. So I'm like, you know... I don't know if I want to see Getsus in a chibi form. You know, it's one thing that was in the original games. It was like that's just how it was, kind of thing. It's a small sprite or whatever. But this time I'm like, I think you probably just want to do full on 3D model kind of things. Maybe maybe Game Freak might give them the assets for Ilka. Because I mean, it's not like they don't do that kind of stuff. I've seen some of other Ilka's works, and you know they could just easily take the assets and work with that as a remake. So. They've already got all the models. They could just hand them over to that and just make a different version of that. So, technically, we could have 2 Pokemon games in a year. But, I mean, obviously, like, we see what Game Freak's intent is going, right? Because with the whole Legends Arceus thing, they wanted to try something new.
Yeah, open world.
Yeah, so, like, that was, like, the stepping stone. It wasn't necessarily open world, but, you know, it's still close to that concept.
Yeah, we knew where they're heading because it was technically kind of open world. You still had zones.
Yeah.
But we saw where they were going.
Yeah, I mean,
and they can't go back now.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Their next game has to be open world,
and it has to be challenging enough to that extent where it's just like, oh yeah, you can die, but and then like the whole thing where I don't know if Did you ever get that far with the last battle or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, because like, well, it's been enough time, but essentially you fight Volo, right?
Okay.
And that was probably the hardest battle because I've seen compilations of people like playing it. And I think I've mentioned this before in our talks, but essentially it's 6 versus 8 Pokemon. So it's just like that's never been done before. I was like, oh, okay. Because Giratina you defeated, but then it comes back in its different form, and you got to defeat it again.
That sounds bonkers.
But yeah, but that time, like, his team is so perfect in the sense of countering your team, whatever team you might have. It's just like you're probably down to your last Pokemon, and then you have to try to fight Giratina, and you get knocked out. And it's like, and even then, like, if you're rushing through the game and speed running it, like, you're never gonna be able to take it down because like it's so highly leveled, like in the 70s. It's like, yeah, you won't find that in any other Pokemon game. The hardest, the hardest trainer that we ever fought was essentially Red. We had that for very many generations, and then Cynthia came along in Gen 4, and she was probably the second hardest, champion or trainer in the games. And since then, it hasn't really been like that, outside of her. And now, well, technically, Volo's a descendant or an ancestor of Cynthia, so he actually had like Pokemon that were kind of related to like what she had, right? Which is a very well balanced team, and obviously that's why people had difficulty with him. So I'm like, if we have that type of difficulty in another Pokemon game, and it's obviously targeted to the older audience.
Yeah, you definitely. Oh man, they don't want to have kids play this.
Yeah.
You're all confused. Like... Mommy, I can't beat this. Why'd you give me this game?
I mean, because, like, if you notice, like, for the advertisements, and it's something I noticed or whatever, and it was really, really slightly, but almost every Pokemon game that has ever been advertised has Pikachu in it.
Oh, yeah.
Legends Arceus is the only game that never had Pikachu in it.
That's great.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm glad they did get rid of the mascot, because I'm like, that's really for a kid's thing. Scarlet and Violet is a baby game to me. It's like, yeah, okay, I need something better. And Arceus was a good way because, like, it's the god of the Pokemon universe, and it's a better mascot for me because I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it's the most powerful Pokemon in existence.
Yeah.
And, the whole thing was like, how does Arceus even work? Because, like, nobody even knew, kind of thing. Because it's like, at the end of the game, when you take on Arceus, because you have to finish the Pokedex, right? So they actually give you a reason to finish the Pokedex, first of all, right? So it's like, okay. But when you take on Arceus, oh gosh, that fight was ridiculous. Me being somebody that's never played Dark Souls or Elden Ring or anything like that, and having to do that type of mechanic in Pokemon, I was like, okay, I was hesitant, but I'm like, all right, this is what I want from now on. You know what I mean? But yeah,
I don't want that. I want my turn-based combat. Damn it. Run around the field.
Oh my gosh, you better dodge and roll, bro.
I hate it. I hate it all.
Gotta avoid them Pokemon moves and traveling through space and time, but lasers.
Oh god.
Oh my gosh. And freaking meteors coming at you, man.
What?
Yeah, dude. That thing was like doing everything. It was like tossing lasers at you. It was tossing meteors. It was doing pulses. I was like, what the hell is happening here, man? This is the hardest fight I've ever done.
Sounds like a Souls boss.
Yeah, it pretty much was.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like it disappears into the time or whatever, like, behind, and then what happens is, like, you see the air crack, and it comes out of the air and, like, charges at you. So it's trying to kill you. I'm like, what the I'm like, oh my gosh.
Okay,
what's
so
happening here?
That sounds epic.
Yes.
Was the end of Violet and Scarlet as epic?
Hell no.
Okay.
All I can say is, okay, I'll admit the story in Scarlet and Violet was very good. It's a very wholesome story.
Okay.
Kind of a sad note, but it's still pretty good, right? But in any case, yeah, the stories, I would give it a 10 out of 10. It's better than it reminds me of Gen 5 story, how that was written. And so that was the best part about it. But the gameplay mechanic, yeah. I see that they try to incorporate some of the Legends Arceus, like, kind of thing, but it's just like, that doesn't really help, because, like, I want to be able to catch Pokemon without having to battle it. Which technically you can do, in a sense, but you still have to go into a battle mode, essentially, to try to catch it. But, you sneak up behind it, you catch it off guard, and then, I think for 2 turns, it's caught off guard, so you can probably throw a quick ball and probably get a critical catch, and you can catch it that way. All right, but I think critical catches is what increases when your Pokedex is more full.
Okay.
So you see the ball shake once, and then it catches it immediately. So, and quick balls come in handy for that specifically. But like I said, you definitely want to like fill up your Pokedex if you really want to catch anything. But yeah, in any case, I see that mechanic, but you still have to go in the battle phase. But I that's what I really liked about Legends Arceus, because like, minus the Parasect always trying to freaking poison me from a distance, the bane of my existence. But you can sneak up behind Pokemon, you can catch them, and you don't have to battle them at all. You just catch them the ball, right? And the different types of balls, like trying to catch bird Pokemon and how far they go and the spawns and all that. That's what I really appreciate.
Yeah. You have to like take into account like your aim, how high you can throw it and everything.
And that's what I get. That seems more realistic to me to a Pokemon game than what they're doing now, kind of thing, right? Because you can auto aim in this game, Scarlet and Violet. And I'm like, I don't really care about that. I just want to like be able to throw it how I want to, kind of thing. But I'm like, all right, this is somewhat of a compromise, or whatever.
Oh man, we keep going back to Pokemon.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot to say about this game.
We have a lot to say because it's like it's the thing right now. But I mean, it's like it'll fade over like in the next 2 weeks, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's something just they'll have their raid events and all that. I think Pokemon Go has some stuff going on now, but. In any case, it was like, whatever. This was just a new gimmick. Although I will appreciate the terrestrialization gimmick, because it kind of reminds me of Mega Evolution. Say, for example, Gyarados. It's Mega Evolution, because I think normally it's water flying. Yeah. It evolves into dark flying, I think, or Mega evolves into dark flying. So it kind of changes the typing, right? Terrestrialization is essentially that. You can have like a water Pokemon, but then it has like a fire type terrestrialization.
Oh, okay.
So it changes its typing. Granted, it's a single type, but it's kind of a step forward in the sense of changing the meta for competitive purposes. It changes especially for like, if you took on the first gym leader, or quote unquote first gym leader, he was using grass type Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
But Sudowoodo is a rock type. So I was like, how do you prepare for that? I think a lot of people are kind of getting off track from that because they're getting used to the typing. And they're like, Sudowoodo is a rock type, so let me use a fighting type to kill it or whatever. But then all of a sudden he terrestrializes the grass, and it's like, that does nothing. Come on, man. So I like, and I've seen some people comment in the sense of like, not to, call it out like that, but casual players of Pokemon, this is like, they still don't have the memorization of like how typing works against each other. But it's just like when they do that, it's like they get caught off guard. And it's like, what do I do for this and what works against what kind of thing.
I actually had to save the weakness chart for Pokemon types. I actually had to save it on my phone.
Oh my god!
Because I so rarely play Pokemon games.
Yeah.
So I can't memorize the weaknesses to certain types.
Right.
So I'm just like, every time a new Pokemon game comes out, I always download the chart. I have to look at it because I'm like, I cannot memorize this stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
some of the weakness types don't make sense though.
Like we'll give you an example of what you think.
Okay, hold on. I gotta look at my chart here. Oh god.
Yeah, and while you're looking that up, it's like uncommon because like I saw like Crody and some other people were talking about it. It was like, how do you guys know this offhand or whatever? And I'm like, 25 years of playing Pokemon all the time, it kind of does that to you. Yeah. So I'm like, so you get used to it. But I mean, it's mostly the hardcore players that, kind of have that memorized, it's just through battles and all that kind of stuff. But, it is what it is, But I will admit there are some weird typing.
Like Steel, why is that strong against Ice? Well, I guess if you were to hit Ice with the Steel Beam. Okay.
Yeah. Well, because like Steel can withstand Ice specifically, right? Because like it doesn't expand and contract as much, kind of thing, compared to other types of materials.
And then there's like, is it Grass? Why is that strong against Ground? Or is that? Yeah, it's Ground.
No, it's Ground. Yeah. Well, I mean, think of it like this, like an apocalypse, right? When everything's abandoned, what happens? The grass starts to overgrow everything that exists. So,
I can't think about this. I don't want to think about it.
But it's like one example. It says like,
yeah.
You know, what was that one Will Smith movie? I forgot, the zombie movie. Oh, shoot. I don't know what it was.
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend, yes. And like, you know, everything was overgrown with like a bunch of stuff in the middle of the city. So it's like, yeah, grass will grow regardless of whatever material's there. So it's like, oh yeah, of course.
I don't want to think about these stories while I'm just trying to find Pokemon. Okay.
It makes some sense, I'll say that. So. But yeah, I mean, you know, because there's 18 types. You know, granted, we only had like 16 in the beginning. Because Dark got introduced into Gen 2, and then Dark and Steel, actually. And then I think Fairy got introduced in Gen 6. So, you know, I don't know if they would be able to even add another type, but if they do, that'd be kind of weird. Kind of throw off the balance of stuff. You know, because, we'll see how that works out.
Nah.
Who knows?
Man, this became the Pokemon episode.
Oh, yeah. Indeed it is.
but anyways, was there anything else, or
nothing much outside of like going back to like anime and manga. I'm just trying to catch up on like some other series or whatever. I haven't caught up. I'm kind of far behind in the anime for My Hero Academia, but I heard it's getting even better now. But the manga I caught up on, although I think I missed the last 2 weeks, so we'll catch up on that. One Piece chapter is going to come out, I think, this week. Thank goodness. And then I got to read up on Tokyo Demon Bride's story. And then Kaiju number 8, I believe I'm caught up on that currently. Same with Chainsaw Man, I'm caught up on that as well. Outside of that, plenty of other anime that I got to catch up on that I mentioned in our previous episodes that, obviously the holidays kind of got in the way. So and then me redoing my basement. So that kind of gets in the way or whatever. So I'm like, all right, I just got to catch up when I can. Because, I'll be off in 2 weeks for the rest of the year. So, plenty of time. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, that's it for me too. So I believe that is it for our Weeb talk and Weeb corner and whatnot. Are we gonna be doing reactions?
Yes, indeed.
But we will be taking a little break before that.
Of course.
But yeah, thank you for watching. And listen to us just talk about Pokemon mostly.
Of course.
You can stick around or come back. We're actually going to stop this stream so we can take a break.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back and I'll have another guest with me and we'll do some reactions to
some HoloLens stuff and stuff that's been going on this week with the VTuber community. So,
okay. Sounds good.
Cool.
Alrighty. Until next time.
Of course. See y'all later.
Yep.